Hey guys, welcome back to UModeler. Today we're going to be looking at another pro tool called the text tool. This tool allows you to create vector-based 2D text objects by entering a string and adjusting fonts, sizes, alignments, and spacing. It's perfect for adding labels, signage, and decorative text to your scene. Let's see how it works. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is create a UModeler object. So at the top here, let's go ahead and click here. And what we're going to do is go down to the group called drawing, and inside the drawing group you're going to see text. So when you click on text, you're going to see your mouse. It's going to have this little square kind of floating around. And before we actually click and drag, what we want to do is actually take a look at some of the tool properties. You have the font, you have the text, the width, the height, and some padding, and then you have some display options. But we're going to just focus on these options here, the padding and the options above it. So the first thing I want to do is actually go ahead and change the font. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and change this to, say, Roberto Bold. I like that one. And then what we can do is set the font text here. So what we can do is we can leave this like this for now. So I already typed in what I wanted, but yours is probably going to say hello world if, for instance, you've never used this before. So what you want to do now in your scene is you want to click and drag. Easy, right? All you got to do is click and drag, and once you click and drag, you've created this object. Pretty simple. Now, once you click and drag, you can now change your font if you want to. So you can do, say, UModeler X Pro. Seems pretty cool. And then we can now change the height and the width of this object, like so. Pretty simple. So we can kind of get the right feel that we're looking for. And then we can also mess with the padding. I'm not going to change the padding too much, but this kind of shows you what you can do with the padding if you need to. Great. But what I'm going to do is set everything to 0. And of course, you can play with some of these other settings. I'm not going to mess with these personally, but just keep it basic. Because all we really want to do is create a mesh out of our text, because that is the special feature here. So now that we've actually typed this in, we have basically our text object. All we really need to do is go into like face mode, and there you go. You're good to go. Now you actually have an object here made out of just basic polygons, right? So we can go and look at the verts, we can look at the edges if we want, we can go and select faces, we can just select this X. And since it is just a face, what we can do is click and drag and do an extrude on just the X if you want. You could take all the faces, right? And we can do an extrude on that. And so now we have all of these faces extruded. So now you're kind of have a whole object here in 3D, which is kind of nice. If for any reason we want to bring that down, I could just select the verts at the top and just kind of pull that down a little bit. Pretty nice. And if you want, you can also rescale it, and that's just the top part. So for instance, I can add it like a little edge, like almost like a bevel almost kind of on the letters there. Looks kind of cool. So there's all types of different nuances you can do with this. Yeah, it's pretty simple tool. It doesn't really, we don't have to kind of go too deep into it, but it just shows what you can do with a tool that simply just creates text for you. But I think it'd be really cool if you use this for signage in your game. And then of course, if you want, you can create materials and put materials on this if you need to. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the text tool. I hope you guys found this video useful. I would love to see what you guys are doing with the text tool. And other than that, I will see you in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to stay up to date with the latest features and updates by hitting that subscribe button and clicking that notification bell. More features are coming and you wouldn't want to miss out. I'll see you soon.